I noted with great interest that many Democratic senators, Humphrey, Ribicoff, Proxmire, many great leaders in this country have also labeled it as irresponsible and untimely. And you see, what happens when you do that is you move away from the basic American premise that a person is innocent until proved guilty.
You know, we've always thought that our system of government was sound and would exist, but we've never had an opportunity to examine it under a threat like it's had now. We've had almost a total breakdown at the executive level, at the White House level, and it's permeated agency after agency after agency.
Well, here's the thing. Let's say we've got about 2,500, and we do have about 2,500 highway patrolmen in Texas. And the only raises that they're getting at the present time is if they're advancing grade, that is just like the Army, and if a man gets to be a lieutenant or a captain or a major, well, of course he gets a raise. Otherwise, the only emolument they get other than their salary is $10 for each five. They have to wait 5 years to get $10 a month extra salary. Just hardly nothing.
Of humanities.
Years getting 15.
I think most people are going to realize that policemen and firemen getting raises.
Now, to pay for their expenses, dedicated from home. Rosser, the highway patrolmen are sort of the forgotten law enforcement officers.
I don't think that Watergate's a panacea for the Democratic Party, and I don't expect it to be, and I don't think it should be. If the Democratic Party is going to be successful in 1974, they'll be successful because, as they have been successful in the past, because they represent the interests and concerns of the people of this nation.
El señor Francisco Chavarría, presidente de la Asociación de Charros de Dallas, Texas. Asociación de Charros Mexicana. Yo por esta tarde de poder participar en este gran evento, esperando que todos... Asociación de Carros, el señor Iván Aguilar, campeón estatal del estado Fiales a caballo.
The fire broke out at 10 minutes after 4 o'clock this morning. Firemen teamed up to carry residents from Weber's nursing home at 1400 East Luda. The main problem created by the fire that erupted in a linen closet was the smoke that filled the building. There was very little blaze. The alarms went to 3, mainly to get enough firemen to the scene to help in the evacuation. The elderly residents of the home, most of them over 75, were placed on the front lawn for fresh air. They were taken eventually by ambulance to another Weber nursing home about 4 blocks away, and all were accounted for by sunup, in good health, but a little tired from the ordeal. District Fire Chief Larry Wynn said the cause of the fire hasn't been determined, but it was confined to a storage area on the south side of the building. The damage is expected to run in the thousands of dollars. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move in Fort Worth.
First building I'm on at 3 o'clock.
When you talk about consolidation of school districts, I think you're losing a certain amount of local control, which I consider to be bad if you do lose local control. In our own case at the Fifth Circuit, of course, it's speculation on my part, and I am speaking as a school board member, but I think it will prevent us from being merged or consolidated with any of our surrounding school districts at this time.
Of course, there is some busing within the Dallas Independent School District today. Any type of a county-wide consolidation plan would call for, needless to say, thousands more to be bused. And there were those within Dallas County hoping for that consolidation. One group of Oak Cliff students, headed by banker Herman Bond, had sought to intervene in the case, seeking county-wide consolidation. Mr. Bond told me by telephone today that to come out and do a filmed interview would be nothing but filming the funeral, that his group is now through, monetarily and otherwise. They are bowing out of the suit. He also said that today's decision was not all that disappointing to him, that their action, he admitted to me, was clearly meant to muddy the waters of the suit. This is Jim Mitchell, Channel 8 News on the Move.
This morning at 11 o'clock, Bill McKay made the offer to them of $175.88 for the singers and dancers for this year's contract. In addition, he offered a cost of living increase for 1974, and in addition, a cost of living increase for the year 1975.
That's 88 cents more than they asked for, isn't it?
No, it's exactly what they asked for. No one has really known that that was the exact figure, but that was the exact figure.
Well, as it turned out, they refused to pay the minimums for stage managers, choreographers, and directors. And having refused, I simply cannot believe that their offer of $175.88 was a bona fide offer.
Oh, I'm basically a fastball pitcher. I probably throw that 80-85% of the time. I also throw a slider and a curve and a changeup, but those are just sort of pitches to offset somebody just sitting up there and waiting on my fastball. But my out pitch is a fastball, and that's the pitch I'm going to win with if I'm going to be a winner.
What goes through a player's mind when he just realizes that he has been traded? What went through your mind when you found out you were coming to Texas?
Well, I was very elated. My wife and I were both jubilant, to put it mildly. We'd kind of had a feeling that we were leaving Cleveland, and we didn't know where we were going, but we just had a feeling that we were going. And when they told me I was coming to Texas, I was very excited because it's a great place, and I've heard a lot of good things about not only the people on the ball club, but the people in the Dallas area, and we were really looking forward to coming down here and playing.
You're a pretty good hitting pitcher, which is a rarity in the major leagues. You won some ball games last year hitting home runs. What do you feel about the designated hitter rule? Is this hurting you?
Well, it's not really hurting me. It's kind of taking something away from the game for me. Like I say, I'm a good hitter, and I love to hit. It's an enjoyable part of the game, but as far as it hasn't hurt me, the designated hitter has probably helped the American League overall, at least so far, and that's what it's meant to do. And if it puts more people in the ballpark, we're all helped.
Eric Johnson, chairman of the Regional Airport Board, thus began use of a new telephone service. He's talking with Secretary of Transportation Claude Brinegar. Airport manager Tom Sullivan and Gray Beck, president of General Telephone Company, looked on as Johnson used a gold-plated speakerphone on Sullivan's desk. This is one of 5,000 phone connections planned within the huge airport complex, with service provided toll-free to both Dallas and Fort Worth metro areas. Johnson and Brinegar remarked that it was a pleasant surprise for something to work so well the very first time, and they expressed hopes the rest of the airport facilities do as well as they aim for opening in October. General Telephone Company has installed the very latest equipment which should handle needs to the year 2000. One figure says 30 million feet of double-wire cable has been installed in tunnels from the Central Exchange to the terminals and other areas needing telephones. This is Rosser McDonald, Channel 8 News on the Move.
Well, I don't think it's ever fast enough. But I'm pleased on many fronts in this area. In the 4 years I've been on the council, I've seen employment of blacks triple it, almost quadruple itself. I've seen departments that had no blacks 4 years ago employ blacks. I've seen blacks upgraded in most of the departments. So really, I'm pleased that we are making some progress.
$15 million are put to death each year by the city. 4,000 is born each year. And only 415 babies are born, human babies, and the dogs outnumbered by thousands. I think you should have them spayed.
You ugly thing. Yeah, I have. Sit.
Okay. Dust over. Huh? Dust over.
This is Eric Johnson at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport.
Mr. Johnson, how are you today?
Well, I'm better, but I expect to get over it. I ordinarily wouldn't call you. Practically run out of change here. It's all right if we... But now that we have that out of it, and we hope that when you call us, you won't have any trouble from up there from whatever system they have in Washington.
I'm sure I won't, because I usually... somebody to get you for me.
Line up, the rest of you people go to class unless you're down here.
Under the golden dome of Casa Manana's Playhouse in Fort Worth, last-minute rehearsals were underway for South Pacific, the first production of the 1973 summer season, a season marred by charges and countercharges between Casa Manana's management and the Actors' Equity League. Curtain call was at 9 o'clock for the negotiators from Casa Manana and Actors' Equity Union. All morning long and into the afternoon, Equity's executive director Don Grody and Rayford Shelton, who's a local actor, took the equity side of things against civic leaders Robert McCallum and Bill McKay. Equity's demanding $175 a week as a minimum wage for actors, among other things. Casa Manana's management says this increase is in violation of federal wage and price guidelines. Equity says where there's a will, there's a way. Well, win, lose, or draw, the equity fight against Casa Manana's management has taken its toll on the theater in bad publicity for the folks at Casa Manana and in turning this summer's season into kind of an exercise in community theater. Community theater without the star pulling power of actresses like Ruta Lee, who is a member of the Actors' Equity Union. Well, for News 8 on the Move, this is Arch Campbell at Casa Manana Playhouse in Fort Worth.
I don't have to seat him, do I? All right, I'll sit here for you. I'm really going to sit right behind you there.
Where's Rayford?
It was just after 11 o'clock last night when Officer Welch and his partner I.W. Seals stopped here at the 7-Eleven store at 4301 Camp Bowie Boulevard. Officer Welch, who was going inside for a package of cigarettes, did not know that a drunk man was inside with a gun demanding money from the clerk, Ann Clark. Captain J.W. Tyndall of the Homicide Detail of Police explained what happened then.
The Officer Welch walked in the door, unsuspecting that anything abnormal had previously taken place, and the suspect turned and fired point blank at him, hit him in the chest. Officer Welch, after he was hit and the suspect went out the door, he did rise to his feet and go outside into the corner of the building and fired several shots at the fleeing suspect.
Was he hit?
The suspect we have in custody is hit in the shoulder.
The 36-year-old man who is in custody of police is reported to be an ex-convict serving time in the state penitentiary in the past for burglary. He has not been officially charged with the crime as yet, not until a lineup will probably be held tomorrow morning for positive identification. He was found in far west Fort Worth about 3 hours after the incident here at the 7-Eleven store last night. He was wounded in the shoulder. Officer Welch leaves behind a family, a wife and 2 small daughters. They live in Watauga, Texas. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move in Fort Worth.
Oh, yeah. Small.
Was it open like that?
Yeah, we'll leave it open like that.
We're trying to find the key to the cash bag, but we couldn't find the key because there was envelope.
Well, Jerry, we're looking forward to sending the very best talent we can here. After we take our first 20 players for the New York Islanders, we're going to send the rest here. This is the only club we're associated with in the pro level, and we're bringing probably 8 or 10 kids that we had last year in New Haven that have had a year's experience. So we're looking forward to putting a real good club on the ice here in Fort Worth.
At least 75 people from the Dallas-Fort Worth area are going to Washington, most of them on this morning flight. They're going to testify before the House Public Works Committee and the Senate Public Works Committee about funds for the Trinity River projects. Now, there are funds for the navigation canal. There also are funds for reservoirs and flood control. Those who fought the bond issue successfully and opposing the Trinity Canal project are led by Dr. James White, who says that they don't want Congress to appropriate funds either.
Well, there are basically 2 points we want to make. One, that the voters clearly did reject the canal, that this was a major issue in the campaign, and I don't know since I ran our side. And secondly, that there is in the federal budget over $1 million, which can only be justified as building a canal, and we would like to see that removed since the voters obviously have rejected that.
We also talked to some of the Trinity River supporters about what they intend to tell the committees.
I'm well aware of the heartache and disappointment that comes to the people that farm that valley. I also know that some of the richest land in Texas is along the Trinity and within the Trinity floodplain, and I can't think of a better program than one that provides for flood control, one that provides for recreation, water supply, that would enhance the ecology and improve the economy of a community. And this Trinity River Basin program will do that, and it's worthy of Congress support, and it certainly has the support of the people in Anderson County.
It'll be interesting to see what the indications might be from the congressmen and the senators now who will have to approve the money for the Trinity Canal project. Do they consider the vote against the bond issue for the canal the death knell for the canal? This is Rosser McDonald, Channel 8 News on the Move, at Love Field.
The words energy crisis are beginning to mean as much money to us in our homes as the words do not pass go, do not collect $200. It strikes home whatever game you're playing. Well, what about the energy crisis? What about the price of gasoline and where is it going? Now, maybe you don't care about the service station operator, but he is a vital part of our community. He does supply gasoline to your automobile. And many of them, particularly the independent owners, are on the verge of going broke.
We run hot and cold. Our customers are quite excited and they're concerned. They don't know whether they'll get their day-to-day needs, and frankly, we don't either.
Really, how high are prices going to get?
We hope that we can hold the line on it and keep it down to a decent price that everybody can afford transportation and a little pleasure driving.
Mr. Hammett, we happen to be in a parking lot of one of the independent service stations, Cello, which I understand is operated, in fact, by the Mobil Oil Company. Are companies like this going to be the first to go in an energy crisis?
No, I don't think companies of this nature will be the first to go because, as you mentioned, this company, I think, is owned by Mobil Oil. Now,
well, what about the wildcatters, those that are just in it station by station?
I think they will be the first to go because their supply of gasoline will be dried up first.
Well, if they cut the prices of the gasoline, then, well, people won't be able to drive their cars as much, take vacations.
I assume you mean cut the supply of gasoline.
Right.
What kind of mileage does this car get?
Between 35 and 40 miles.
Are you concerned then about any shortage of gasoline?
No, not really.
Well, what about automobiles like this one? Are they on their way out? Some experts say they are, except for the very rich and those who can afford to pay the bill. And for people like myself, we'll be working overtime nights to help clean them up. This is Jim Mitchell, Channel 8 News on the Move.
Thank you very much.
James Brown got your ticket there.
Well, they all have individual tickets. You said there was another one or two?
He blocked them. Who you are? Did he block some seats?
Usually if you have a group, I guess you have one group ticket and block it like that. If you all have individual tickets, it's easier to go ahead and let you run on through line.
No, I don't have a ticket. I think we'll turn in.
In consonance with it. So
anything you say?
I think justice has been done. I thank everybody that participated in any way.
Thank you.
the jury did a real good job in considering the evidence and deliberating. Of course, you know, no one wins a criminal case. It's just whether justice is done, and I feel that it was done in this case.
Yes, there was. When they got on the scene, the building was fully involved. They found an entrance around here off the parking lot into the building and carried 2 lines in there, but because of some things that were happening, they heard some noises and immediately retreated out, and fortunately they got out before the walls fell and trapped anyone, but it was a very dangerous situation for a short time.